I want to tell you a little bit about myself. And I really want to be honest about this. And I don't want anyone thinking that this is for a ruse or even for attention. I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I come from a semi-happy home with both my mom and my dad, an older sister, and of course myself. I have 4 dogs, and I love them all very much. I went to high school, just like everyone else, and I made a mistake, and I'm in homeschool. Don't really want to talk about that mistake, but I'm being honest with y'all because you're pretty much the only ones I get to talk to. When I was, might as well say 6, and I was in primary school, I remember this one time that I was in the playground, and there was like this big circle, so a big circle like this, and back here in this back corner over here, there was a tree, and one of my best friends back then, it wasn't so much of a love story, but I really liked her, and I thought the best thing for me to do was pull down my pants and show her my ass. Definitely not the best thing now that I think about it, but it really threw me, because now I think back to that day and I'm like, wow, that was a really, really bad idea. And I think about it and I'm like, well, shit, why'd I do that? Let's see, a year later, that was in kindergarten, a year later, in first grade. Actually, first grade was pretty good. I just had a couple bullies on my back, and I learned how to stiffen my upper lip. And second grade, that threw me for a twist. I had a teacher named Miss Andrews. Now, Miss Andrews was, like any of your, normally old crotchety ladies, and we all know those teachers. I was sitting in her class one day, and something hit my leg, and it hurt, and I accidentally swore. I said shit. And I didn't get written up for that. I got written up because I interrupted the class, not because I said shit. But my punishment for that was that I had to sit in the very back of the room. Now, these classrooms are a lot older, and the back of the room was more or less of, just a little cubby area. And they moved a desk back there. Well, a couple months after that happened, it was about halfway through the year, and I thought I was in the clear for anything embarrassing happening. And I drank like 4 or 5 cartons of milk. Now keep in mind, these milk cartons are like a pint, that's it. Well, for a 10-year-old, that pint is a whole lot. And I'm sorry, my computer keeps falling asleep, so the brightness of the video keeps going down. But I was sitting back in class, and I started to have to go pee. And when I say I started to have to go pee, I mean like bad. And I was sitting there, and I raised my hand, and she looked dead at me, like eye contact, and she was like, and then, and like, she just kept on going, like, she did not pay me the slightest bit of attention, and that pissed me off. But speaking of it pissing me off, but I had to go be even worse then, because she wasn't paying attention to me. So I raised my hand. I was throwing my hand around. I even stood up and threw my hand up in the air. And keep in mind, this is in second grade. But she was paying me like the smallest amount of attention, and I really needed her to pay attention. And it got to the point where I couldn't hold it anymore, and I pissed myself. Now, we all have those times when we think, son of a bitch, why'd I do that? But this was one of those times that I definitely hated myself for the rest of the day. Because instead of allowing me to call my mother to come pick me up, she said, go to the office, you'll be fine. So I walked myself back up to the front office, and I told them what had happened, No one called my mom. No one called my dad. They just took me into the back room and pointed me to a restroom and said, "Here's a spare change of clothes. Just get changed and go back to class." They never talked about it since then. And I've always been in shock and awe that they just let it go like that. In 3rd grade, I was in the computer lab. And, well, okay. Computer lab for me is, we just go in there once a week and we just do whatever. I mean, it's pretty, self-explanatory. But we had, gone in there, and I'd left to go to the bathroom, because I could actually go to the bathroom in 3rd grade and not have to piss myself. But, I went to the bathroom, and when I came back, someone had searched something quite inappropriate on the computer. And because it was my computer and it was logged in under my name, I got the shit for it. So let's see. Let's add everything up. So far, that is. Kindergarten, I showed my ass to the girl I had the biggest crush on at the time. 1st grade, learned how to stiffen my upper lip from bullying. 2nd grade, totally pissed on myself. 3rd grade, which is where we are now, someone decided to look up some explicit content on the computer, and I took the shit for it. Well, in 4th grade, things were pretty easy, but that's when I started noticing that I wasn't like the other kids. I noticed that I had something different about me, and whether that was a good different or a bad different, I was not 100% sure. I could tell you, however, that it was something that was hurting me more than anything else. And I realized that I had ADHD, and we got me tested and stuff like that, and it wasn't that bad. I mean, there's plenty of people who have ADHD and never really take care of it. But it took a huge toll on me going into middle school. So skip ahead 2 years. I hit a big roadblock, being that I couldn't learn very well, because I was always fidgeting in my seat. I mean, even now, I sit in a chair that swings back and forth, and I can lean back in it and shit like that. I mean, it gives me something to do while I'm sitting here talking to you, or at least trying to. But I really figured out who I was, and I found out that I had a learning disability, and that things are going to be a little harder for me. And from the day that I accepted that, I've been working my ass off for everything. The job that I've talked about in 2 talk times now, I got on my own. Keep in mind that I'm just a normal small town boy, but my sister's extremely smart. And by extremely smart, I mean she makes every test her bitch. She is that good. And my mom used to have a daycare, and it was pretty much known by everyone in town. And my dad's been a cop for years, and he does what cops do: protect and serve. And because of that, I was either the cop's kid or the daycare boy, or just Felicia's little brother. And now I'm not any of those. At that time that I'd accepted it and I started having difficulty in school, I was now the stupid kid. The kid that left the class for tests. The kid that had no stride or ambitions left in life. I'll be honest, I left a lot of dreams behind when I finally decided that I was going to pursue what I do now. I got this job up at this gas station not because of my sister's name, which I'm pointing that way because that's her bedroom right there. I didn't get it because of my sister. I never mentioned her name. I didn't get it because of my mom or my dad, anyone in my family. I got it because I needed to prove not only to everyone else, but to myself that I could do it. And to be honest, I don't need a job. I'm 16. I have no bills. I have a great life. I have computers. I have TV, Xbox. I have a roof over my head and food in my stomach and clothes on my back. But there's a part of me that wanted to get a job. That wanted to show everyone that I could do it. And I think that was the most important part of, this year. Now keep in mind that I've skipped over many years. In 6th grade, I decided that I was going to start playing saxophone. And at the time, I mean, it's right here behind me, but at the time I sucked. And by sucked, I mean like Hoover vacuum, shop vac, like sucked. And in the end of 6th grade, there was a concert and I had a solo. My first solo, in fact. And I blew that thing away. And at least I thought I blew it away. But watching the video, I actually found it a while back, but watching the video, I cringe because it's now 4 years since then. Going on 5. It's been 5 years since then, and I've gotten so much better because that was in 6th grade. I'm going into 11th. Now, the whole reason for me sitting down talking to you guys is for you to know who I am. I'm a small town boy that is just trying to make it big. My dream is to work at Google, and before that, I want to go into the U.S. military and serve my country. I'm telling you who I am because I feel like the videos of me commentating over Black Ops 2 videos or just talk time is not letting you know who I am, who I personally am, and I feel like I at least owe you that much respect to at least tell you who I am. Now, I know that you must be thinking this is stupid, and I wouldn't blame you thinking that it is. In fact, I personally think this is the biggest waste of time that I have ever spent any slimy morsel of attention to this year alone. YouTube was never supposed to be a big shot for me. It was always supposed to be a little hobby. Do an unboxing video here, do something here, and I guess it turned into something more than that. Now, I'm not sure what to call you guys. I'm not sure to call you the Pickle Army or something like that, but I feel like we've bonded in a way, and not in some metaphorical hobby-jobby bullshit way. That you watch my videos and you see what I see. And like most of you, 95% of you that have subscribed are either on my Xbox account, or I know you in real life, or you're just someone I've met in passing. And to all the people that I know personally, I want to say thank you. That if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have the ambition and then the stride to go get a job that I definitely don't need, and to work my ass off around this house and do things that I'm just challenged to do every day. I think that if it wasn't for the people that watch my videos and that really pay attention, I wouldn't have 95% of the things I do at this moment. Let me tell you something, and this is a true, honest thing. I have never had $1,000. Neither has 99% of the other teenagers in the world. I have never had $1,000 cash in my bank account, anything like that. But because that I see how I'm doing online and my persona there, and how I'm doing school-wise, I've almost did $1,000, and the big thing is that since I don't have any bills, I'm using that money to do something for myself. Now, if you know me in personal life, you know that I'm not a very selfish person. In fact, I spend a lot of my money on others. I've had $200-300 go out of my pocket like that because I think about others before I think about myself. I've stayed up until 5 o'clock in the morning with someone on the phone that we started that call at 6 in the afternoon because they'd have a gun to their head, or they'd be having a cup of bleach beside them, threatening to kill themselves. I don't think that anyone, and when I say anyone, I really do mean anyone, should ever be faced with the conflicts that anyone really has. I think that right now there's a plan going on. Do I know this plan? Hell no, I don't know this plan. And I'm not really sure what this plan really is. I mean, it's one of those things that you don't really pay attention to. I have this money because I think about everyone else I can help. And to be honest, this is where a lot of my time has gone, to think about others. But I want to challenge everyone that's watching this video. Being as it may that you've made it this far, I want to challenge you to not be selfish. I can almost guarantee that there's one person that you know. One. That either is having a hard time at home, that has issues with their parents, or a sibling has had a family member pass away, or maybe a close friend. Hell, there could even be that homeless guy down the street that no one pays attention to, where they honestly think that he's all fake because they think he has things later on in life coming to him, or that he has a big house and he just pretends to be homeless. I challenge everyone that's watching this video right now to be unselfish, to give to someone else. If you see someone who has fallen on hard times and doesn't have a lot of money, and say they're at a store, at a gas station, trying to pay for food, and say it's like a sandwich or something like that, something healthy, not like beer or something like that, but something like a sandwich, something that they could honestly need to sustain life. Help them out. Give them that last $2-3 that they need. If there's a woman who is at a gas station, I know this is putting gas station because this is where I see a lot of issues. If there's a woman in a minivan who has 4 or 5 kids in that vehicle and tries to pay for gas in coins and $1 bills, help her out. I know gas, especially where I live, is right at $2 a gallon. It's like 1 penny away. Give her $10 in gas and just leave it at that. That woman deserves to keep those kids alive, to get them home into a safe place. I've done many stupid things in my life. I have cared about others and been stabbed in the back. In fact, my ex-girlfriend, I cared so much for that I was willing to go to jail because I loved her. And, the stupid thing was that I loved her, but it wasn't mutual. There was no love on the other end of that game. Other end of that line. I mean, there was nothing there. And that's where I finally realized I had an issue about caring for others. See, I have always gone to the mindset of give to others before you take for yourself. And I have given my last dollar to someone who needs it. I have given many people $5, maybe even 10 in gas. Not this year individually, but before. I was taught never to be selfish. I get my nice, love everyone feeling from my mother. And in a couple of my videos, you'll know that I've mentioned her a couple of times, and to be honest, she's kind of why I try to be a better person. And I'm not going to screw around with y'all. I'm going to admit, my mom subscribes to me. Is it sad? Kind of. I mean, she's my mom. But she supports me. And I know that you're going to end up watching this, Mom. So before you say anything, yes, it is 1:08 a.m., but I have to work the night shift tomorrow, so it's okay for me to be up this late, because I have to be up this late tomorrow. Ha! I win. But I digress. My mother is a very caring person. And if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have 100% of the stuff in this room I wouldn't have because of her. You see, my mom didn't come from a very wealthy family. She was raised in Georgia, in Decatur, where if you had money, you had money. If you didn't, you stole. And that's how life was. I don't feel like we give credit enough to our parents. So on top of my challenge of not being selfish and helping someone else, I challenge you to go to your parents and say thank you. If you don't live with your parents, go to your uncles, aunts, grandparents, neighbors, foster parents, whoever, and say thank you. Because if it wasn't for them, you wouldn't have something that you have now. A phone, a computer, a game system, internet, food in your stomach, that sort of thing. Now, you've heard me talk about my mom. And, of course, earlier you've heard me talk about my sister. But, there's one person in my family that I don't really talk about, and that's my dad. Against contrary, he is here. It's not like he left or anything, but I have to be honest in the way that I think about my father. My father's an old school guy. He worked his ass off for everything he's ever gotten. To the bone, to the blood, all the way down. And he's worked for everything. When I turned 15 and I got my license, he looked at me and said, "Don't you dare think I'm going to give a single penny to your first car." And I didn't believe him. I didn't. I thought it was a joke, and he stuck by that, and he told me one day that he worked his ass off until he got his first car, that his dad refused to pay for it. And do I despise my dad? In certain aspects, I do. The reason that I do is because my dad has given me much more to want, a lot more to ask for. Because it's not like you and I, where I get to talk to you one-on-one. My dad works night shifts now, and he used to work day shifts, where I would go to sleep at night during school, and sometimes I couldn't sleep, and I used to stare at the ceiling and try to count sheep or something stupid like that, like we all do, and I'd wait until about 4 o'clock in the morning, and that's about the time that he got up for work. Excuse me. But he'd get up from work and get ready to get dressed and leave. And I remember one time in particular that I left my room at like 3:30 in the morning, and he was getting on his duty belt, which has pistol, taser, baton, handcuffs, that sort of thing on it. And he was loading his pistol into the holster, and I came around the corner and I was like, "Hi, Dad." Like, way too enthusiastic for that time of the morning. And he unholstered his weapon, and he went to point at me, and he was like, "Boy, what are you doing awake?" That was one of the most fondest memories of my dad. Yes, almost getting shot is a fond memory, but it was one of those things that was off the top of his head, and he didn't really know what to do. 95% of fathers aren't there for the teenage and adult years of their sons' lives. And it's not because they die or anything like that. It's because there's a challenge in the house of dominance and stuff like that. But I have to say, and because I know you're never going to watch this, Dad, I do love you, and you're a big part of my life. And whether you decide to believe that or not, it's true. If it wasn't for you and Mom and your mother all hounding me and saying, you need to get a job, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to make something of your life, I wouldn't have done this. I'm glad that you've pushed me to be a better person. I'm glad that you beat the shit out of me when I fucked up. There's times in my life that I wish that I knew why you did things. And it's not even a bad thing that you did them, it's just I just don't understand some things. If it were the honest world I wish we lived in, I'd understand every single thing that you did. And I know there's some things in our life that we don't talk about. And there's some things in my life I wish we talked about. Now, I'm getting off of the whole touchy-feely subject because it's not really my forte. But I do want to challenge everyone to go to their parents and thank them. And this is my way of thanking my parents. I want to thank you, Mom, for sticking up for me through thick and thin. Because even though Dad's usually pissed at me, you will bite the bullet and stick your neck out for me. And that's more than I could ever ask you to do. Thank you, Dad, for being a hard ass on me every single day. You pushed me to be a better person. And because of you, I can now consider myself a man. I'm living the American dream. I have a job, working on getting that vehicle, and making a life for myself. Now, it's not a family member as a parent figure, but a family member as a sibling. I want to thank my sister. And she does a lot for me. Though now I don't feel as close to her as we used to be. But I want to thank my grandmother because she inspires me to do better things in my life. And finally, I want to thank everyone who's watched this video up to this point. Because 28.5 minutes of me rambling on and just being stupid isn't very interesting, I know. But I want to say thank you to everybody who's made it this far. And I appreciate you watching my videos. Please like and subscribe so that I can know that someone cares and that I can really keep posting. I love y'all. See you on the Purple Pickle Army.